to BigCountryPreps.com. I'm Evan Wren, and this is our Countdown to Two-A-Days series, our daily look at an area football team and the key questions we're going to be answering about that team in our August 20th preseason preview here at Big Country Preps. I'm with my partner, Dan Youngblood, via Zoom. And Dan, tonight we're going to be speaking about the Albany Lions.
Yeah, one of the true area powers, one of the most successful programs in the state, and this looks like a kind of a vintage Albany Lions football season. They got 20 of 27 Letterman returning this year, 7 offensive, 9 defensive starters back. So we'll have plenty to talk about, and we'll be addressing some of the biggest questions facing this team here in just a little bit. But should be a good discussion on Coach Denny Faith's Lions.
All right, before we jump into that, we want to remind you folks to please hit the subscribe button and then also hit that little bell so you'll get notifications each and every time Big Country Preps publishes a new video. All right, Dan, the key questions about the Albany Lions. First
Yeah,
off, what is the top question on your mind about Albany this year coming into the season?
yeah, we can jump right in. There aren't a lot, like I said, 20 Letterman back, 7 offensive, 9 defensive starters, so a lot of talent back for this team. The one position that I do kind of see as a question mark is that quarterback position, where they've been really fortunate to have a string of really good veteran quarterbacks. Most recently, Chip Chambers, who's there for a couple of years and did a really good job for him. So that is kind of my biggest question: is what will what will the signal caller look like this year? Sophomore Clay Chapman is listed as a guy who's likely going to get one of those first opportunities at that position. A talented athlete, but there is not a whole lot of experience at the varsity level at that position. So that's one of few positions they don't have a varsity experience at. But I think that's going to be one of the biggest questions facing this team. And then if they are able to replace Chambers and be successful at quarterback with so much returning talent, can they be even better this year maybe than they were last year? I think when you look at what they've got around that quarterback position, two 600-yard receivers, some good backs. You're talking about a lot of a really experienced offensive line. You're talking about a lot of supporting cast members there that should help a young quarterback kind of take that step and make that transition. But the question remains is what will their quarterback position look like this year?
And I agree. On paper, it looks like if they successfully find the new quarterback, on paper, it looks like that Albany could be better this year. All right, for me, one thing that's jumping off the paper when you look at Albany is defensively with 9 starters back. How good can that defense be? That's going to be a strong point of this ball club, and it's going to be fun to see what defensive coordinator Jimmy Fuentes can do with all that talent and experience coming back. Uh, I still get the feeling this team's going to be better. I say it now, but it's easy to say now, but we'll see. But it looks like this team's going to be better, especially on the defensive side with 9 people back.
And you just look throughout, Denny Faith's time there. Defense has been such a strength for him. When you talk about nine Letterman back, yeah, you'd definitely expect that unit to be a major strength of the team. The last question, and this one's I think going to be kind of interesting. And we'll talk more in depth about the schedule that Albany's playing here in just a few minutes. But you look, they've loaded up the non-district schedule as they always do. They're going to get a lot of tests during that portion. My question is, will they be tested enough during the district portion of their schedule to go into the playoffs as prepared as they possibly can be? And in District 7-2A D2 this year, I think you can make a case that it will be potentially maybe a little bit weaker than it was last year when you look at a Miles team that graduated a huge and really talented senior class, and then you've got new coaches at several of the schools, including Cross Plains. I mean, I would expect Hamlin to be better. Definitely, they've got a lot of talent back, but there's a big gap that you're trying to bridge there when you're trying to get to Albany's level. So I'm just interested to see if Albany's going to be tested enough in district when you talk about the last 6 weeks of the schedule to go into the playoffs, playing their best football. I think that you do want to be tested, and they always do a good job in the non-district portion of their schedule of loading that up and getting as much experience as they can. But I'm sure they're kind of hoping that a couple of those district teams step up and provide a little bit of challenge as well.
Before we take a more in-depth look at Albany's schedule, we need to thank a few of our sponsors, beginning with For the Love of the Game Broadcasting and our old friend Terry Slavens, owner of K-Lakes 93.5 FM out of Brackenridge. 97.7 FM KATX out of Eastland, Classic Country AM 1330 out of Graham, 94.7 FM KWKQ out of Graham, KROO 1430 AM out of Breck, and KWBY 98.5 FM out of Ranger. That is for the love of the game broadcasting. Also, Rob Durham, sales consultant at Bayer Chevrolet Buick Cadillac up in Breckenridge. If you're in the market for a new vehicle or a used vehicle, call Rob. He's one of the nicest guys you'll ever want to meet. Give him a shout at 254 559 2266. That's Rob Durham up at Bayer Chevrolet Buick Cadillac in Breckenridge. And finally, Cavalry Resources and Construction, located up in Breckenridge, serving the entire big country, offering custom standing seam roofing made on location and all commercial roofing applications. Give Kobe Walker a shout at 254 246 5546. That is Cavalry Resources and Construction in Breckenridge. All right, with that, let's jump into Albany's schedule. Dan, you were talking earlier about how important this schedule might be for Albany, given their desire to have deep playoff runs, and they usually have deep playoff runs, and it's nice to have a challenge. And this year's schedule again offers a challenge that they will need. Non-district portion, everything opens up on August 29th, and that's going to be at home against Stanford, and we know how good Stanford is. They have Holly a week later at home as well, so you can't get much better than that. For a couple of home dates to start the season off. They'll be on the road at an improved Seymour. And that's going to be on September the 12th. They host a good Coahoma team on the 19th of September, and then they have a road date at Anson on the 26th. So that's a pretty salty non-district portion of their schedule. I think they did about as well with that as they could.
Yeah, definitely. And then every team in that district will have its open date on October 3rd, and then they will kick off district play October 10th at Miles, followed by a home game against Winters on October 17th. They'll go to Cross Plains on the 24th of October, host Roscoe on Halloween, and then they'll finish up their district schedule at Hamlin on November 7th. I kind of mentioned earlier that several of the teams in that district will have new coaches this year, and it's true of three of them. You got Winters, Cross Plains, Roscoe, right there in the middle of their schedule, all with new coaches. So it's going to be interesting to see how that district plays out. But Albany, I mean, looks like a pretty clear favorite to me.
All right. Now, normally we take this portion to pick a game of the year. Dan, I don't know if there really is a game of the year for Albany this year, a game that you can point at and say that this is a must win, as much as they just have to get through the schedule healthy. And if they get through the schedule healthy, they'll have a shot at making that deep playoff run that has become a tradition.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, if I think there's a good chance that their game of the year will probably be in the non-district portion at some point. That Stanford game looks really interesting. I think that Coahoma game looks really interesting. As far as district goes, I think probably their toughest test is probably going to come that last week of the regular season at Hamlin, which I think could be kind of a dark horse, kind of a sneaky team that people aren't are kind of sleeping on a little bit. This is a Hamlin program that has been junior led last year and really made strides across a lot of different sports. These are kids that have won in basketball, they've won in baseball, and they started winning in football last year. So I think Hamlin's going to take a step forward, but again, Albany's just on another level. But if I was going to pick a game of the year in that district, I think that's the one I'd pick. That November 7th game at Hamlin.
That could very well be for the district championship. It could be if Hamlin continues its trajectory upward. So we shall see.
Yeah, for sure. But interesting schedule. I think that non-district schedule is going to be a ton of fun for Albany, especially. There are several, in my opinion, Big Country Preps Game of the Week candidates in that first part of the schedule. So it'll kind of be interesting to see how Albany navigates that.
All right, and with that, it's about time to wrap up this edition of the Countdown to Two-A-Days series, the Albany Lions. But before we do that, we want to remind you, August 20th is the big day here at Big Country Preps. That is the day we release our annual preseason football preview, and that's the most comprehensive look at high school football in the big country. It's got features, it's got columns, it's got team previews, it's got schedules, it's got stats, it's got everything you're going to want in a football preview involving big country teams. Don't miss it, August 20th here at Big Country Preps.
In the meantime, we appreciate you joining us for this episode of our Countdown to Two-A-Days series. And make sure you come back tomorrow when we highlight the Cross Plains Buffaloes here at BigCountryPreps.com.